First of all, we're going to start with the sauce for our pasta. We're going to take 1 whole can of whole tomatoes. And we're going to finally blend into a puree. Once that's done, we're going to set it aside, and we're going to prepare our veggies for our sauce. Starting with 1 stalk of celery, thinly sliced. After our celery, we're going to cut 1 whole small onion. Again, this is going in our sauce, so we're going to finely dice these. And then we're going to set aside and cut our garlic. For our sauce, we will be using about 6 cloves of garlic. We're going to trim the edges here and then finely dice our garlic. Now before we actually get to cooking our sauce, we're going to start on our chicken. We're going to start with 3 eggs, and we're going to scramble them in a bowl. This will be part of the breading for our chicken. Now before we actually bread it, we're going to add some pepper and some salt to our flour. About 1 teaspoon of each will be enough. Then we're going to mix our salt, pepper, and flour together. Now that we have our flour, eggs, and breadcrumbs ready, we're going to start off by fully covering our chicken in the flour. This will help form somewhat of a glue for the rest of the breading. Then we're going to fully submerge and coat our chicken in the egg. And then finish it off with the breadcrumbs. We're using seasoned breadcrumbs. If you have plain breadcrumbs, you can always add your seasonings to it, but we decided to cut out the middleman for this and just go with the seasoned breadcrumbs. After that, we're going to set aside in a pan and then repeat the process with the rest of the chicken. So remember, first it's flour, then egg, then breadcrumb. So before we actually put our chicken into the oven, we're going to sear the chicken in the frying pan. We're going to use a couple tablespoons of olive oil. And we're going to take about 1 tablespoon of butter. And we're going to heat this. Once it's melted, give it a stir.
Olive oil and butter.
And then we're going to add our chicken. Depending on how much chicken you use, you may not have enough space to finish it all in one shot, but that's okay. You don't want to overcrowd your pan. So we're just going to go with 4 for now. And then we're going to sear our chicken, making a nice crust.
4 at a time,
As you can see, the chicken is getting a little brown, so we're going to flip them. If they're not completely brown, let them sit there for a little bit more, but you want them looking like this. After both sides have been browned, we're going to remove them and place them in an oven dish. When you're making the rest of your chicken, in between cycles, you want to clean your pan. Once all of our chicken is done, we're going to now add our garlic butter. We're going to be using a whole stick of garlic butter for this. We're going to make sure that each chicken has a piece of garlic butter on it. And for the remaining butter, we're just going to place around the chicken. Once the butter is on, we're going to cover with some aluminum foil. We're going to make sure that it's well sealed. Then we're going to place in the oven, which is set to 350 degrees, and we're going to cook it for about 30 minutes. While the chicken is cooking, it's time to cook the sauce and the noodles. We're going to start on a medium-high heat with a couple tablespoons of olive oil in the pan. Once you see the oil start to smoke, now we're going to add our onion and our celery. And we're just going to cook for a few minutes. Now it's time to add the garlic. Now remember, you don't have to cook the garlic too long. About a minute is all you need to cook the garlic.
That for a second.
Now it's time to add our tomatoes. Once we've added our tomatoes, we're going to give the whole thing a nice good stir. We're going to add about a teaspoon of salt and about 1 teaspoon of brown sugar.
Just a bit of sugar.
Mix it around. Then we're going to throw in about a half teaspoon of pepper. Next, we're going to add about 1 tablespoon of basil. Then we're going to add a bay leaf. After the bay leaf, we're going to add about 1 tablespoon of olive oil. A few more minutes is all you need, and then you can remove the sauce. Next, we can start cooking our pasta. We're using penne noodles. Make sure that your water is seasoned well with salt before adding your penne noodles. So once you've got the water to a boil, add your penne noodles and let boil. So after about 30 minutes in the oven, the chicken should be done. So we're going to remove, and then we're going to remove the tin foil. This is what you want your chicken to look like, and you want to make sure that it's cooked all the way through. Depending on how your oven is, you may need to cook a little bit longer than 30 minutes. While we let our chicken set, we're going to add our penne noodles to the sauce. Remember, we're not straining our noodles. We're going to keep the starch there. We're just going to drain a little bit, and then we're going to add it to the sauce. And we're going to mix this all very well, making sure that all the noodles get their fair share of the sauce. Now it's time to serve. We're going to take some of our penne noodles. And then we're going to take one of our chicken, and then we're going to add some of the garlic to it. And there you have it, inside out chicken Kiev with penne noodles. For a recap on today's recipe, log on to www.molquebec.com/mrba/mrba.html.